Hello and welcome back to MATLAB programming course. In this part, I'm going to show you how we can do a new sort of vector multiplication, which is really important in programming, and you will find a lot of occasions where none of those types that we already learned, the cross product and the dot product, are going to be useful for us, but this type of multiplication, which is not a formal type but a common one, would be our solution. So let me define two vectors here. Vector A is going to be 1, 0. To show you this example in a better way, I just want to use 0 and 1 like bits and bytes of a computer. Okay, so I create some vectors here, okay, and the B is going to be equal to 1 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 0. Right there. Okay, so I created two vectors. They can be different numbers. They might not be 1 0 only. You can use whatever number you want to use, but I want just to show you how we can use this stuff here. Okay, so as we learned, we're able to do dot product of A and B, which is a number, and also cross product of A and B. Oh, sorry, we cannot use cross product. I did a mistake here because cross only is defined for vectors at most 3 items. I just did a mistake here, my bad. Okay, so now sometimes you need to do multiplication of two vectors that are 1 by 1. For example, you want to multiply the first element in vector A to the first element to vector B, and the second element in vector B to the second element in vector A, and do it continuously, okay? For example, you had two vectors with thousands of length each one, and you want to multiply them together to see what's going to be the result. The should here is that these two vectors should be the same length. Okay, without it, you cannot do that. The way that you are able to do some sort of calculation is this one, and please pay close attention to what I'm going to do. So I type A, then I type dot, A dot, and then multiplication sign B. Okay, it is something new. So before I do that, let me eliminate the that dot here, and I'm going to hit enter. You'll see that we cannot do that because these vectors are actually matrices. They're not vectors, they're matrices, and matrix multiplication has its own rules and regulations that we're going to observe in matrix section. But for now, let's try it. Let's try to write it this way. So I type A dot star B. Okay, so I calculate this one. Now look what happens. If I hit enter, a new vector is created, and it's lengthy. Let me bring it here. Okay, so the first element is 1 0 1 0 1 0, stuff like that. And if you come here, you will notice that the first element of A and B, if you multiply, is going to be 1 here. The second element, because one of them is 0, the result is going to be 0. The third one, the same. If you follow the pattern, you will notice that we did it. We could divide, we could multiply each element by its corresponding element in another vector. The same way we can do this by division. So now you're able to do the division, and you see that there's a non-applicable because it's going to go infinity. All right. The point here was that you are able to do the multiplication element by element in a list when you use the dot before the operation. So this is kind of important. We need to use the dot sign before the operation. Either it's division or it's a multiplication. We're going to use that before. So A dot division by B, and you will see that the result is going to be created.